Hey, what's up, fam? Thank y'all for tuning in once again. And as always, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you subscribe, be sure to hit that notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be notified. Today, I'm going to do a video on R. Kelly's trial or the conviction of R. Kelly. And I'm going to try to hit on different aspects. I'm going to talk about my feelings about R. Kelly personally, and then I want to get into the law because those are going to be two different things. And I feel that we do need to touch on it as Black Americans. So, first thing I want to talk about is R. Kelly himself. And personally, I'm not an R. Kelly fan. We can go back in history. Anybody that knows me will tell you that I won't listen to an R. Kelly song. I hadn't listened to an R. Kelly song maybe purposely in over 20 years. I won't do it. And it's because we know the type of person R. Kelly is. We know that R. Kelly, let's just go with the facts that we know. R. Kelly in his 20s, 30s, 40s, what have you, has a thing for underage girls, period. We know back in the day he married Aaliyah when she was 15 years old. We know that we know there's tape. There was a tape that came out like early 2000, 2008 or what have you of him doing acts on a girl that we could all tell that she was underage. I don't care what nobody say. You know what? I don't care what people try to say. You got people who try to say, oh, she said she was 18. Or she told me she was 21. Bruh, 9 times out of 10, you can tell how old a person is just by the way they talk. Regardless, they could have had a hell of a life, been through a lot of stuff, but there are certain things that a youngster is going to say or the way they carry themselves that's going to be different than the adult. Most of the time, there's going to be a certain way that they look that you can tell that these kids, whether it be a boy or a girl, are not 18 or 21 or what have you. And if you have to use the excuse or the reasoning of that they told me that they were 18 or they told me that they're 21, to me, if you got a question, man, I just walk away from it. It's not necessary. There's a lot of people that men, women, regardless, that you can deal with that are actually around about your age or legal age or what have you, that you can deal with. You don't have to go through these questions and stuff like that. So, like I said, you had that. You also have so that tape that came out with the one girl, he peeing on in the song or whatever. Like I said, everybody knew she was underage. Then when the government tried to prosecute him on that, and then the police went down to his house in Florida, the police found a tape that had showed him doing different acts with underage girls, which they said they could prove that they was underage. But the problem was the tape was seized illegally, and like I said, later on we're going to get into the law aspect of this whole trial and why it's pretty disturbing. But we'll get to that later. They couldn't use the tapes in a trial, but they couldn't charge him because the tapes were obtained illegally. So they had to throw that out. But you have a lot of people who still follow this guy and say they couldn't find him guilty. And my friends, you are putting together two things that don't match. Just because they didn't find him guilty in a court of law does not mean that this dude is not immoral in what he's doing. And so he had cases that he pretty much got away with because the law couldn't get him. And so, as you can see, he continued to do the same things that he's known to do regardless. I guess he thought he was above the law. And so he continued to do what he did. I mean, and you got people who said that, this guy was hanging out at McDonald's, that is known for a hangout for high school kids. So, I mean, bottom line, we know R. Kelly like young people. Pedophile? Okay, yes. Let's just call it what it is. Like I said, don't like him. I got daughters. Didn't like what he did. I say, hell, a dude 30 years old or whatever, was trying to holler at my daughter, do things with my kids in their early or late teens. That dude gotta go. But with that being said, you still got people that listen to his music. You got people that still try to follow him, that still try to cape for him. Even after the trial, you had people outside the courtroom. Shout out to the Boondocks who predicted that. Outside the courtroom, still fighting for him and everything. But if we're talking about law, I understand that. But if we're talking about R. Kelly the person, I don't understand that. You still have people still fighting the cape for him, and I don't understand for R. Kelly the person why. And you can say, and then people want to say, well, nobody's perfect. Well, my question is, how do you know? By whose definition? Because for all of my, Christians, Bible readers, scripture followers, whatever, from what I recall, there are two people in the scriptures that the Most High deemed perfect that I can recall. I know one was Enoch, and that dude was so perfect that the Most High called him up to heaven, didn't even let him die. He just called him up to heaven. And another person was David, King David. And we all know King David lusted after a woman, had an affair with a woman who was married, then went and sent her husband out to war on the front lines to die in a war so he could have his woman. Now, David did that whole thing he probably did that thing like, hey, I didn't kill him. I didn't do nothing to him. He just, he was in the army and he went out to war and he just died. I mean, it just happened. Who knew? That dude, you knew, because not only did the Most High call you on it, he had a human being call him on it, saying like, hey, the guy come and said, man, what you did was foul. And David like, what did I do? And he said, man, you sent this woman's husband out there to die in the front battles. Saying the Most High know what you did. And it's like, David freaked out, thrashing and, begging for forgiveness from the Most High and everything. No, he did wrong. I mean, the dude went crazy for a moment because he was caught out on his BS. And instead of like the Most High just talking to him directly, like I say, he got a human being to do it. And it goes to show you, that where we as a people have to call each other out on our bullcorn. If I do something wrong, it's your job to call me out on it. If you do something wrong, it's my job to call you out on it. It's not a judging. Nobody's judging anything. You just saying, hey, you did something messed up in this file. I don't agree with it. Just letting you know that, hey, you need to check that because it ain't right. It's not to say, well, man, you ain't perfect and it ain't like you do everything perfect and ain't nobody perfect, second and third. Like I said, what's your definition? By whose definition? Because like I said, in the Bible, the Most High said David was perfect and he had a man killed for his woman. We do that in the world's court system, man, they get you put in jail. Death penalty in some cases. So again, what's your definition of perfect? And then you have people say, well, we're all saved by grace. But dude, what the heck is grace? I mean, what's your definition of grace? Because a lot of people's definition of grace is misinterpreted. People think that just because they saved by grace, or they heard a preacher talk about grace, they think, oh, I'm saved by grace, I can't go to jail because I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I follow the Messiah. I believe in the Messiah. And all I do is I do wrong. You know what I'm saying? The Most High know my heart. So I'm going to go to heaven. And unfortunately, that's not what grace is, player. Scriptural definition of grace is basically saying we were judged by the law. And if you broke that law, you were doomed to death. Now, mind you, you was also able to to repent with certain sacrifices of animals, certain animals, burnt offerings and stuff like that, to where that you can repent for your sins. But again, you can't just go back and keep doing it. You see what I'm saying? So when the Messiah was sent as the human sacrifice, the last sacrifice, any blood having to be shed. So now what it is you commit a sin, you ask for forgiveness for that sin, and you are given forgiveness by grace. But you don't go back out and do it. You don't continue to do it. You don't continue to say, well, like I said, the Most High knows my heart. Matter of fact, let me see. If you go up into this, and you can go online and look at all this stuff. That's what's so great about the internet, man. You can get any information at your fingertips so quickly. Back in the day, we had to, go and study or had to do like hours and hours of research and listen to a preacher who ain't about nothing anyway. Some of the times, but let's say you look at this Ephesians 2 and 1 through 22. I'm gonna read part of it. And it said, "And you were dead in trespasses and sins in which you once walked, following the course of this world, following the prince of the power of the air," which is most like Satan, "the spirit that is now at work in the sons of disobedience, among whom we all once lived in the passions of the flesh, carrying out the desires of the body and the mind, and were by nature children of wrath." So this is all talking about past tense. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, like the rest of mankind. But the Most High, being rich in mercy, because of the great love with which He loves us, even when we were dead in our trespasses, made us alive together with the Messiah. By grace you have been saved. After they don't say, so go out and keep killing, murdering, stealing, lying, cheating, doing what you're doing. No, this verse is perfectly telling you that grace is about past transgression. So my problem with R. Kelly is this. Yes, this dude had had a pedophile lifestyle. Yes, he was. I'm getting at that. Hold on. The problem is the dude never repent. The dude never asked for forgiveness. At least we haven't heard. You might say, how do we know he ain't did? How do we know he doing his private life? Well, here we know his private life. We know enough of his private life. This dude could have easily he did interviews trying to plead his case, telling you to use your common sense that he wouldn't do these things. Sound like Brother Polite. Brother Polite trying to say that, man, he ain't no what he say? He ain't no weirdo. Nigga, that don't mean you ain't done it. You just think the definition of a weirdo. See, people like to use words and twist them. He say you're not a weirdo, dude. You do some wrong. You know what you did. If it's true, it was wrong. Period. Yes, you are a weirdo. Your definition of weirdo may not be my definition of weirdo. No, you may not be a weirdo, but you're sick in the head and you need help or punishment. And my thing with R. Kelly is everybody deserves, I believe, a second chance, maybe a third chance, or what have you. But when you do things and then you deny that you've done anything, and you want people to feel your pain, and you want people to feel the pain that as a child you was abused. So now you become a grown abuser. What they say, hurt people hurt people. What has he done to try to correct your behavior? Forgiveness. One part of forgiveness is an apology. Has he given an apology to the women that he's hurt, the families that he's hurt? No, well, I don't believe so, because none of them said that he apologized. He never said he apologized. Has he went out and got psychological help that he needs to try to move past this and do differently? I haven't heard anything about it. I haven't seen anything in the news, and he hasn't stated himself. He got handlers, he got PR people, he got family members, he got friends. Nobody said that this guy has went out to try to change his behavior. You know what they did? They went to court and a lot of them testified saying all the wrong stuff he's done. Didn't hear nobody testify about, but hey, he did this, but he's changed. He's trying to do this. He's trying to, change his thought process. He's taking himself away from certain areas or situations to where he won't be, tempted to do things that's not right. I haven't heard that, and that's my biggest problem. That's my issue with R. Kelly when it comes to dealing with the underage girls. That's my main thing. This other stuff, we'll get into that with the law. Messing with somebody's babies, manipulating their mind, regardless. If you got some sick people trying to say, well, I'm sure she probably threw herself at him. I don't give a damn. This dude's grown. He knows better. He knows better. And it ain't just R. Kelly. There's a lot of other people like that. In the past, we've known a lot of entertainers who had dealt with kids, Elvis. What's that little white boy with, goodness gracious, Great Balls of Fire, whatever his name was. The cat married his baby cousin damn near. But a lot of people, deal with younger girls or whatever. And it happens and they famous and it's like, sweeping under the rug. But it don't make it right, man. It don't make it right and it ain't right. So, like I say, my problem is, again, one last time, is the guy just never asked for forgiveness for that. Ask people to forgive him and, move on and help him cope, help him get better. You got alcoholics, you got drug addicts. They go to counseling, they go to sessions, mediation, meetings and stuff, trying to do better, and they slip up, and it happens. But, I mean, if they're trying and they're actually making progress, we're supposed to help our brothers, we're supposed to help our sister when they're trying to do right. But if they ain't trying to do right, man, look at her. I ain't got to kill you, but I ain't got to save you either. That's a line from the Dark Knight movie. But anyway, now, let's only get into this. I usually say I'm going to read my notes, but I kind of went off the top on that. But let's try to get into, I got some notes here. We're going to try to get into the law part of this whole trial and why this whole trial was pretty much jacked up. Do I think R. Kelly should be in jail for what they put him in jail for? Man, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he should, but the thing with the law is, you gotta understand, when you do something that people don't like, the law, the government don't like, and they can't get you on it, best believe they're gonna try to get you on something else. Just like with the mafia families and the racketeering and RICO charges or tax evasion. It's like they should try to get, hear the stories of Al Capone went to jail for tax evasion for a long time, for years, because they couldn't get him on other things because they couldn't charge him with murders or gambling or bootlegging or what have prostitution, because the dude didn't touch the money. He stayed far away from, had other people in between, between him and the acts, and he was getting money. So they said, man, we got to get him somehow. So they got him on tax evasion. You got all these houses, you got all these cars, you buy these properties, you buying a bunch of expensive stuff. How you making money? Oh, no, not how you making money. You owe us in taxes. Now, if you pay those taxes, think about that, if you pay those taxes, then they're going to wonder where you get the money to pay the taxes. And then if you pay them taxes, you say, hey, well, you pay that tax. It's how we get the money to pay them taxes. So it's basically a win-win. It's a no-win situation if you don't have, documented evidence of, where you got your money. So let's think about the feds. This was a federal case, I believe, and they were after R. Kelly, and they've been watching R. Kelly for years. Think about it as a Black American. When the government, and they try to get you twice that we know of, when the government wants to get you and you get away, especially as an Aboriginal Black American, man, you are on their hit list, and they're going to come after you somehow, and they're going to find a way to twist laws in order to get their conviction. Thing about the feds, they'll sit there and watch you for years. They'll allow you to do things for years. They go back like this case, they pretty much went back to 2008 on this stuff, because they had people coming back from 20 years ago testifying, knowing that the statute of limitations is up, but they came and testified against this brother to convict him for racketeering and the Mann Act. But so let's get into this right quick. So, like I said, I got a few notes here. I'm gonna hit on some of these, and like while I'm going along, I'm gonna get my take on it. So basically, like I say, R. Kelly is convicted on 9 counts of sex trafficking and racketeering. So basically, what they were trying to do is saying that R. Kelly was recruiting these females, which people, testified in the trial over 5-6 weeks. Testified saying that R. Kelly would go to these concerts, had these shows or what have you, go different places, have people go recruit these young girls, young women and young girls, or girls, women that look like young girls. Recruit them, quote unquote, bring them to the fold, and bring them back to Chicago. So that was taking them and then having sex with them, making porno videos, treating it like, acting like he's a cult leader, as they would say. And so that's where the sex trafficking came in, or quote unquote, like the Mann Act. But the racketeering charge, as it says here, and I got to see Google this, got this off of like CNN, the BBC, what's it called, the Daily Mail, all this, you can go on the website, try to find, reputable like Daily Mail, the BBC, or the Reuters. Those are pretty reputable, and they don't have any bias towards anything. They just kind of, hit you with the facts. So basically, it says here, it's a racketeering charge often associated with organized crime, but it can be applied to any ongoing coordinated illegal scheme or criminal enterprise to carry out the common purpose. Now, tell my people what I said before. It's your Black's Law Dictionary. One thing about us, for some reason, we're afraid of the law. A lot of us don't know the law because we run from it. We don't want to look at it, but most time we get in trouble because some that's in the law that we don't know anything about. Laws change all the time. That's why people say to me, like, man, it's the law. Why won't you do this? Why don't do that? So why would you do that? Well, it's the law. Man, the law don't mean nothing to me because in the past, slavery was legal. Jim Crow laws were legal. It used to be legal to beat people and kill people or imprison people, Aboriginal Black Americans, for knowing how to read. You know what I'm saying? They said you couldn't vote unless your grandfather voted. Or you couldn't vote unless you can read these sentences. But if you read these sentences, that means somebody taught you how to read, which means how long you've been knowing how to read. If you knew how to read back in the day, that's a law we can retroactively punish you for. So, these were laws. You see what I'm saying? So the laws mean nothing to me. My thing is more of a moral thing. But anyway, looking at my laws, Black's Law Dictionary, it says racketeering. The definition, is a system of organized crime traditionally involving the extortion of money from businesses by intimidation, violence, or other illegal methods. The second definition is a pattern of illegal activities such as robbery, extortion, fraud, and murder carried out as part of an enterprise, such as a crime syndicate, and is owned or controlled by those engaged in the illegal activity. So the whole racketeering thing in this trial, people have, raise a side eye on, because it's like, how the heck is this racketeering? Like he murdered nobody. But basically what they're saying is, in this case, prosecutor says Sylvester, your boy, and his inner circle worked for more than 2 decades in multiple states to promote the singer's brand, to recruit girls and young women for sexual exploitation, and to produce pornography. I'm still kind of not understanding about that whole racketeering, because like I said, there's no, let's say it's illegal activity. What is illegal? Is it producing porn or sexual exploitation? I guess pattern of illegal activities is bribery, extortion, fraud, and murder carried out as part of an enterprise. This is a crime syndicate and it's owned or controlled by those engaged in illegal activity. So if it's illegal, Mann Act. That's what it is, the Mann Act. So basically what they're saying is he violated the Mann Act and he's involved in illegal activity. And so that's why they brought up racketeering. But you had the 8 counts or the 14 counts of the what you call it, sex trafficking. So you see how they're going to put everything together to make it fit. And that's what they'll do. Man, I can remember, I'm tell you a real quick story and get back to R. Kelly. I can remember child support case. My child support case. And the judge and that lawyer, man, they tried to get me. And they tried to get me, man. And what killed me was they tried to make me pay back child support. Now, I was never have been, never will be a deadbeat dad. I've been there for my kids since before they were born. Period. I was with them every day, seen them every day, took care of them every day, even when me and their mother was no longer together. I made sure to stay close proximity of where they was living just so I can be involved in their lives every day. When you get to court, they don't hear that shit. That lawyer was trying to make it to where I paid back child support, which I thought was unfair. But because me and the mother did not put child support on the divorce papers, they couldn't do it. But that lawyer was trying to read like letters and trying to twist the law up to where now in Texas you're gonna go back 4 years. Back in the day you had to go back. You can go back to the time them damn kids were born. But in Texas you're gonna go back 4 years. But they try to make me pay back. That's that lawyer tried to get me to pay like 4 years back of child support. And even the judge, from what I was looking, is like she was trying to twist it too. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? But it's like no. But my lawyer was like, no. The law says this. There's no precedence, and this is not going to be the precedence. See what I'm saying? So, unfortunately, that's basically how she was saying. It's unfortunately, we can't do it. So, anyway, my point is, like I said, they'll try to twist laws to make it fit a certain case, so they can say, good reason. Now we can get them. But so what I'm saying here, they use the Mann Act, which probably ain't been enforced since it was created, to bring the racketeering charge up. So basically the Mann Act, and I'm gonna read this, like I said, I got this written down. So the Mann Act, also known as the White Slave Trade Act of 1910, is a federal law that criminalizes the transportation of, quote, any woman or girl for the purpose of prostitution or debauchery for any other immoral purposes, end quote. So the question is, what is immoral? Who defines immoral? Now again, this was known as the White Slave Traffic Act of 1910. So basically this was a racially motivated act, which was basically created in 1910 because of a fighter named Jack Johnson, the first black world heavyweight champion of boxing. Jack Johnson was brash, he was flamboyant, he was knocking white folk out left and right, toying with them, playing with them, making big money, and sleeping with white women, marrying white women. Some were prostitutes. And the white man back in them days couldn't stand them. They didn't like that. Not only are you sitting in the ring beating up these white men like it ain't nothing, but outside the ring you embarrassing them because you knocking down they women and bragging about it and walking around with them and nobody can touch you. So what they did is, so they wanted to get, I think Jack Johnson had a woman he was in a relationship with, and I think she was from one state and he brought her to stay with him in another state or what have you. And this was like 1908, 1909 or what have you, but they couldn't get her. So in 1910, they passed this Mann Act. And as them folk like to do, as this debauchery that they like to do, they passed the act in 1910 and then tried and convicted this dude of something, put him on this for something he did a year or two earlier. Like, dude, you trying a guy for something that wasn't even a law, and they got away with it. They actually got away with it. They was a trial, convict him, sentenced him to like 8 or 10 years. Whatever. I think he ran, went to another country, come back, then serve a whole lot of time, and it just. But they found a way to get the man. They found a way to get the brother through this Mann Act. They say the Mann Act passed in June. You read here, it say in June 1910, named after Illinois Congressman James R. Mann. Invoked the Commerce Clause to felonize the use of interstate or foreign commerce transport women for immoral purposes. And again, it's like, what's the definition of immoral? Because it's about, it's immoral, not conforming to accepted standards or morality. Again, that is a general definition, because what are the accepted standards? The accepted standards are you don't date, marry, or have babies interracially. So at the time, that was the standard. And so we can do so. That's how they could pass this law. The act was aimed at prostitution, immorality, and human trafficking. Congress appointed a commission in 1907 to investigate into the problem of immigrant prostitutes. It was alleged that immigrant women were brought to America for sexual slavery, and immigrant men lured American girls into prostitution or white slavery. That's what the problem is. They try to put that whole, the immigrants, but it's basically because it was getting these white girls and making them slaves. The committee believed that no girl would enter prostitution unless drugged or held captive. This led to public outrage, which eventually resulted in the enactment of the Mann Act. However, many critics noted that the act ended up criminalizing many kinds of consensual sexual activity and had racist undertones. The phrase immoral purpose was broadly used to prosecute unlawful premarital, extramarital, and interracial relationships following the Caminiti versus United States, where the United States Supreme Court held that illicit fornication, even when consensual, constituted an immoral purpose. So basically what they said is R. Kelly, and I'm quite sure a lot of these girls, a lot of these women went with R. Kelly willingly. Yes, they were recruited. Yes, they were recruited by R. Kelly's people to come and do his bidding. And I guarantee many of these girls, these women, hell, even their families, consented with R. Kelly's request to go with him, at least in the beginning. And a lot of them, I'm quite sure, did this even after the tapes came out in 2008, even after R. Kelly was sued by a woman who on one of them tapes that she did look like a grown woman. Well, she could tell she was grown, where she sued R. Kelly because he recorded her without her knowledge, supposedly. But the way it was told, like in that thing, sauna room, there was cameras all over the place. But she said he recorded her without her knowledge, and then the tape got out. Okay, so like I said, yes, a lot of these women, R. Kelly, he's famous. Man, let's say 33% of the songs out there on the radio at the time, back in the day, he either sung or producer had something to do with it. So the man was out there. The man, looked like a god to a lot of people. So yes, I'm quite sure a lot of these women, a lot of these family members, who are all, I feel, are complicit in this too. But that's for a later trial date or what have you. They knew, or had to have known in some way, that what type of person Brother Sylvester was. And they agreed to it. And they consented to it. But with the Mann Act, which again, like I say, probably hadn't been enacted too many times, as I read here, they say it didn't matter if the woman consented, the man would be liable irrespectively. Furthermore, if the woman consented, she could be held as an accessory to the crime herself. So does that mean that the women who testified against R. Kelly, are they gonna be tried for the Mann Act? Because that's what the law says. Right. While the act was never repealed, but it was amended a few times, the most notable of which were in 1978 to address issues of child pornography and in 1986 to address the act's misuse against consensual sex by replacing the phrase any other immoral purpose with any sexual activity for which any person can be charged with a criminal offense. You know, a lot of places that if some states, if you have an extramarital affair, it's illegal. Some states, if you, still on laws. Some states where laws where if you got caught having sex and you wasn't married, it's illegal. You can go to other countries and that stuff is illegal, and you can get fined in prison. So, like I say, the biggest problem with this trial is it was not a trial to convict Brother Sylvester of being a pedophile. It was a trial for violating racketeering and the Mann Act, which is so broad, it's dangerous. Because, like I said, if the feds want to get you, they're going to get you. So on one side, if it's best to not do anything wrong. On the other side, if you're going to do something wrong, they always say, if you're going to commit a crime, do it by yourself. Never involve anybody who participates or who benefits, because you increase your chances of getting found out. If you can't do it on your own, then don't do it. Period. So again, like I said, they got the brother because he thought he was above the law. And them folk would not like an Aboriginal Black American to think that he's above the law, because they're gonna come after you and they're gonna come get you. Best believe. You got like drug dealers who sit here on the corner selling dope for years thinking that they're gonna get away with you. The feds are watching, and the feds are watching for years. And when they get it, the feds' conviction rate is 97% because they will sit back and they will watch and they will put in plants and they will get snitches and everything and get all the evidence they can to go back for years. So when they present a case, there's no way that you can get out of it. And like I said, they got like a 97% success rate. And that's the same thing here. And then they can take these laws. This is why I urge all of my people to opt to, when it's time to vote and when they present these laws for you to vote on, don't just look at the law and service. You do know that there are always other laws under that they're trying to add to it to pass. Like you may have a law that said that somebody say, oh, we're gonna change the speed limit to 70. I need all my senators and all my congressmen to vote on it. And then this congressman said, I'll vote on it, but I'm gonna need you to piggyback a law saying that we can charge a 1% sales tax on pork butts or something. They're like, oh man, that ain't got nothing to do with this. Well, if you want me to sign off on it, you're gonna have to add it to it. It's like, okay, I'll do it. Then another law, congressman to come with something else saying, I need to say, put it under this law that staplers can hold no more than 103 staples at a time. Like, what? That ain't got nothing to do. Hey, if you want me to sign off on your bill, support your bill, I'm gonna need you to put that in there. I said, okay. So now you got like 2 laws under there that had nothing to do with the original law that may or may not affect your life. But we as a voting public, if we're gonna vote, we gotta know everything, not just what they tell us, but the stuff they don't tell us. Because 9 times out of 10, it's a whole lot of stuff they don't tell us. But yeah, that's pretty much my take on this story, what I wanted to say on this story. Like I say, R. Kelly, you don't like the guy. Don't listen to the music. I sure hate to say the man's a genius. I mean, that 12 play album, classic. One of all-time classics albums of all times. And this guy done made a lot of hits, but his lifestyle ruined it for him. And not just his lifestyle, it's just not trying to correct it. And we people are supposed to correct things, to try to become perfect in the sight of the Most High. You got people might say, well, you know, what about Michael Jackson and messing with boys? Do you not know the federal government tried to prosecute Michael Jackson? And like I said before, the federal government has a 97% success rate. This federal government gets evidence and builds evidence and gets witnesses to get a case, to create a case to bring forth before the judge. If the feds could not convict Michael Jackson, then it ain't nothing you can say to me about Michael Jackson that he did wrong. Nothing. I don't believe it. I'll continue listening to Thriller and Off the Wall and the other 5 albums he made before then that a lot of people don't know. But you can look that up later. But I continue listening to Michael Jackson because, like I said, the feds couldn't get him. And also don't forget, R. Kelly got 2 more trials. In Chicago, got a state and a federal trial that he still got to be involved in. So this is not over for the brother. Not at all. As an Aboriginal black man, I hate to see one of our people get railroaded like this, because that's exactly what this trial here, that's exactly what it is. But like they say, man, I remember there was a guy, I think his name was Linnell Jeter, and out here in Texas, he was convicted of killing somebody, I think in a robbery, and he was given the death penalty. And they suppose there was evidence that said he wasn't there or that he didn't do it. And you know what the governor of the state said back in the day? George Bush said, he said that the reason why he wouldn't overturn the conviction and wouldn't give him a stay execution, he said, because we had a criminal past. He said he may not have done this, but I'm sure he did something else. I'm sure he did something to warrant this. So basically, they didn't care. They didn't care that if he was convicted wrongly to have to be executed, given the death penalty. They didn't care because the dude was doing stuff and they hadn't got him and they know that he was involved, but he had got away with it. So they like to help this nigga. We're gonna get him one way or another. And that's what they did to R. Kelly. And like I said, I hate to see that they did it this way, because they brought people in from years ago testifying on stuff where statute of limitations, their laws, and this is about their laws. The statute of limitation has passed. That's how they did Bill Cosby. Same thing. People that stuff, but when you can get these laws that are so vague that you can bring them up years and years later for whoever they want to. Weinstein, I don't think they hit him with a RICO or a racketeering. We'll see. But we'll see though. I don't think they hit him with those charges. But they got old R. Kelly. I don't know what R. Kelly did to these white folk, man. But he pissed a lot of people off. But like I said, he got away with some stuff. So they're not too mad. And again, but like I say, he didn't repent. He didn't ask for forgiveness. He tried to act like he didn't do anything. But you got videos out there. They said they had text messages and videos out there that they have. I'm tripping on people that still following this guy musically. I mean, he was wrong, but like I said, they got him. But that's pretty much my take on this story, man. I mean, I want to thank y'all for hanging in there and watching this video, because I know it's probably one of my longest videos I've done, but I just had to, I had to make this video. Because like I said, a lot of people that know me, they know my feelings of R. Kelly, so a lot of people were waiting on my take on it. So I said, hey, let me just do a video on it and let the world see. But anyway, so now I want to know what you think. he deserved to go to jail? Or do you think he deserved to go to jail for what they put him in jail for? You think he should be punished? You think this is this punishment is warranted for the things that we know he's done with being a pedophile, messing with with young girls. I don't care about if you want to say that these young girls probably threw themselves at him. Kids don't know anything. The kids, they don't grasp reality well compared to someone who's grown. Kids can't be manipulated if their mind is, as we say, their mind is weak. And that's what he preyed on, because I'm quite sure that everybody that he tried to recruit didn't go well. I'm sure there are stories out there that you can find out there. But the kids were young, mine was weak, the parents were weak, and they allowed it to happen. And so now, everyone has to suffer for a lifetime. But like I say, tell me what you think. Leave it in the comments below. And as always, like I say, I want to thank y'all for tuning in again. Like, share, like I said, comment, subscribe. And again, when you subscribe, hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be notified. It's been a few days since I dropped a video, but man, down here in Texas, man, these allergies been killing me. I be trying to make videos sometimes, and man, I'll be all swollen, watery, nose running, sneezing. So it's like I had to change up some medications, change up some food and stuff like that, and try to get my system back up. And because if that wasn't the case, I probably would have made this video a couple of days ago. But anyway, like I say, for those who trying to start a YouTube channel, look in the description box below. Click that TubeBuddy link. Hey, that thing will help you get your get your YouTube channel going a lot smoother. Just tell you, help you with the tags and the algorithms and how to get your videos more views. Hey, if you want to support the channel, look down in the description box below. Click on the links, get you some merchandise at the website. And with that being said, I'm gonna leave you the same way I came with you. Hey, understand, man, as a person, like I say, the things that Brother Sylvester did, I don't condone it. Never have, never will. Like I say, forgiveness starts with the person seeking forgiveness, and then with the other person accepting forgiveness. I put that in the video before. Everybody got mad. I think some people got mad at Chuck D the other day because he said he hoped that Brother Sylvester can come out of prison a better man than when he went in. But they hit him up trying to say, "Oh man, you supporting a pedophile and feeling sorry for a pedophile." It's like, no, you're not doing that. He's like saying, look, people commit mistakes, make mistakes, do bad things. And once they are called out and they square on it, it is their job to try to do better and learn from it and to be able to teach others about the wrongs. And that's all Brother Chuck D was saying, but people try to hit him up, try to eat him up for that. But anyway, I understand what you were saying. Chuck. So it is what it is. But with that being said, I'll leave y'all the same way I came. Peace.